you ready? Yeah! Cool! Are you ready? Awesome! Yeah! Ouch! Yeah! You did it! Yeah! Cool! Are you ready?
Hello and welcome to this week's Battle of the Ports as we take a look at Virgin's Mick Mack in Global Gladiators, or Global Gladiators as I'll be calling it from now on. This first came to the Mega Drive in November 1992. Global Gladiators was programmed by David Perry and eventually ported by other Virgin Games teams in Europe to various other platforms. The game is based on the McDonald's fast food chain and has a strong environmental message. However, not really much of a message about eating burgers or McDonald's in general. Anyway, you could say that Global Gladiators is a spiritual successor to the NES game Mac Kids, another McDonald's theme based game that also features Mick and Mack as its playable characters. Now, being a Dave Perry game, there are going to be issues. Often it can be screen snapping or yo-yo scrolling, but in this title it's more about the dodgy physics that the characters have. Gaining speed feels so odd, making the whole game feel pretty awkward to play at any speed. The level design is also quite a mess, but those who love the maze-like stages of Earthworm Jim will feel right at home. Personally, I'm not a fan of this, nor the overhyped Tommy Tallerito soundtrack. Sure, it has a lot of speech samples, which are cool, but the actual melodies are pretty basic. Dave Perry went on to produce much better games with Virgin, but it's good to look back and try one of his earlier titles, even if it is quite bad. First port was to the Amiga, and I must say that this version does feature some pretty clear audio samples, and what is a blessing on the Amiga? 2 button controls, yeah! That means we can jump by pressing a button just like a console or arcade game. I'd even say that the inertia issue of the Mega Drive original is somewhat fixed in this version, but how does it play? Well, you all have eyes, so I'll let you be the judge of how the game is running. The Super Nintendo version was never completed, and therefore is only available as this prototype. This version features some graphical enhancements not seen in the Mega Drive version, such as a larger color palette, more parallax scrolling, and extra details in the levels, like water spewing stone heads. For some reason, you now also collect tokens with the Virgin logo on them by collecting a spinning arrow-like icon that changes the McDonald's arches into Virgin circles. The music, however, pales in comparison to the original version and sounds like it's playing off in a far-off room with an echo. Unfortunately, this is the least complete of the unreleased versions, with enemies that can't even harm you and levels that never spawn an exit. Next up is the Sega Master System. Multi-scrolling games can be quite a challenge on the Master System, and it shows with this incredibly floaty version of Global Gladiators. Yep, the feel of this game is as if you're playing underwater. It's not a good time at all. To add even more frustration, you can sometimes be hit by something yet have no idea what it was. It's a shame that the game plays so poorly, as it doesn't look too bad. Following on from the Master System, we have the Game Gear version. Sadly, it is just a cheap port of the Master System game that makes no effort to enhance the game with more colours or add stereo audio. The only change is a rearrangement of the game's HUD. The NES version was never released, but can be found in prototype form. While it's not entirely finished, what's there is surprisingly good and puts the Master System version to shame. The animation still carries a lot of the original version's smoothness, and the controls feel somewhat tighter. There are somewhat fewer enemies around, with foes taking more hits to kill to compensate. There's also no music in the prototype. Aside from that, the only real flaw is the bright orange colour that's used as a background at all times. The Game Boy version can also only be found in prototype form. Right from the start, attention has to be drawn to the main character sprite, which is almost entirely unrecognisable from any of the other versions. Unfortunately, that's far from the only issue, as this version features some of the most uncomfortable jumping controls you may see in any platformer. Your upwards ascent is extremely floaty, where descending, even from a straight jump, takes what feels like several seconds. Combine this with the fact that jumps almost give you no horizontal movement, trying to play this version seriously quickly becomes impossible. It's hard to tell if this would have been fixed in a later release. It must also be pointed out that this game does not like running on most emulators, so I'm using the Super Game Boy 2 to capture this footage, which is adding its own flavour of glitches. take a look at all those versions of Global Gladiators running side by side.
Yeah. 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 Are you